If I were to name the number one struggle that I'm called in to help with on any level, whether it was in the prisons or the corporations or the Air Force or wherever, it was one simple word: communication. People have such a problem with communication. So to understand communication, you have to understand that communication is broken into 3 parts. Part 1 is verbal. That's the words we use. Part 2 is tonal. That's tone of voice. And part 3 is physical. That's body language. I want to play a quick guessing game with you. I want you to guess the percentage of each of those things when it comes to communication. Here's the first part: verbal communication. The words we use. Take a guess right now and guess what percentage of communication are our words. Go ahead. Now, I've heard everything from 10% all the way up to 90%. I mean, after all, this is how we formulate our thoughts into words. You ready for the answer? 7%. 7% of communication is the words we use. Is that shocking to anybody? Most people are pretty surprised by that. So that means that 93% of communication is nonverbal. The next is tone of voice. Let's guess again. If words are 7%, what do you think tone of voice is? %38%. That means that the tone of voice we use is 30% more of communication than the words. Let me prove it to you. I'm gonna say a line, just a simple line that could sound nice, like, "You have a nice shirt." That's a simple line. Those are the words I'm using. You have a nice shirt. I'm gonna say it in 3 different ways, and I'm just gonna change my tone. Way number 1, you have a nice shirt. Way number 2, you have a nice shirt. Was I communicating something different the second time? Even though I use the same words, just by changing my tone, you can tell that I wasn't thinking you had a nice shirt. In fact, I was making fun of your shirt. But if somebody were to say, "Hey, I'm offended, you're making fun of my shirt," I'd go, "What? I just said it's a nice shirt." That was the words I'm using because my tone was so different. What if I use this tone right here? "Hey, you have a nice shirt." Does anyone want to throw up right now? Yeah. Did I make anybody uncomfortable with that one? It's because you can tell my emotion from my tone. Write that down. Your tone communicates emotion. If I have a particular emotion behind my tone, it doesn't matter the words I'm using. Emotion overruns the words themselves. If you think about it, we do this all the time. We speak in tones all of the time. If I'm eating something and someone says, "Hey, how is that?" and I go, "Eh," you know that tone, right? It means not great, not bad. Or if someone says, "How is that?" and I go, what does that tone mean? Pretty good. How many of you know this tone? I'm sure you maybe used it yourself today. Ugh. Ugh. What is that tone? Annoyed, frustrated, over it. We don't even need to say words. We can just make sounds and we can pick them up emotionally. Now here's the problem. If my tone doesn't match the words I'm using, we tend to take the tone. So if my words are, "Sure, I'm happy to help you," but my tone is, it comes out like this. "Sure, I'm happy to help." Did you really feel like I was happy to help there? No. Our tone and our emotions are contagious. So if I'm throwing a bad tone around, someone could take it personal. It could affect their emotions in a visceral level. Let me give you one more example. If you were to walk in and say, "Hey Dom, could I get your help with something?" And I were to say, "What do you need?" If I were to say it like that, you might feel like I'm really listening. But if I'm frustrated If I'm supposed to write that email and I'm getting these network connectivity issues, then I have to reboot it, and then I can't get on. Now I have 1 minute to write this email. And you walk in and you say, hey Dom, can I get your help with something? And I go, what? What do you need? It's the same words, but you might feel like you're inconveniencing me, or I'm biting your head off, or I'm being a huge jerk right now. But my problem's not with you. My problem's with this computer. You're just sensing my frustration. That's why you need to remember this right now. You are responsible for your own tone, because your tone is contagious. For our math buffs in the house, if verbal communication is 7%, tonal communication is 38%. That's what we said, right? Yes, 38. Got it. 38%. What is physical communication or body language? 55%. More than half of communication happens with just our body language. No words, no tones, nothing. We see this all the time, right? Like if I were to go like this, you know what that means. Or if you were to walk into the room and I went like this, you know what that means.
You go downstairs, I'll check upstairs. I'm doing the Navy SEAL signals, come on. I only know the Air Force signals.
My mom had a great one. Whenever I was a kid and I was messing around in the store, I got this right here. That meant don't. Watch this. I'm gonna try a little experiment. I'm gonna walk into frame a certain way. I want you to tell me if you can tell how I'm feeling just based off my body language. Ready? How am I feeling? Happy? Let me ask you something. When you saw me smiling, did you smile? I'm gonna walk in a different way. You tell me if you can tell how I'm feeling this time. Can you feel a drop in mood? Did you find yourself wondering what was wrong? Notice how your mood changed just by watching me, and I didn't even have to say a word. How about this? What if I walk into the room like this? Did your sphincter go like that just now? Did you tense up? Did you feel weird contention? Did you feel the energy change? Did you know how I was feeling just by my physicality? We don't need words or sounds to know how someone's feeling. And as you noticed, when I was smiling, you might have smiled. When I was sad, you might have gotten concerned. When I was upset, you might have gotten alert. Please write this down. You have something in your brain called mirror neurons. And what that means is we can tell what someone's feeling just by watching them. And not only can we see them, we can relate to that feeling. The mirror neurons literally make us feel what that person might be feeling. Have you ever seen a video like this? When you saw that, did you go, oh? Why? You weren't the one getting hurt, but your mirror neurons reacted. That's how mirror neurons work. It's the reason the show Jackass was so successful. When we see somebody go through something, we can physically relate on an emotional level. Here's the question I have for you. Understanding that 93% of communication is nonverbal, your emotions are contagious, and your tone and your body language people can pick up on and sense. What vibes are you putting out there? What emotions are other people able to pick up from you? Here's the last thing I want you to note. Please write this down. I need you to be a thermostat, not a thermometer. What do I mean by that? A thermostat dictates the temperature of the room. It sets the temperature. A thermometer just tells you what the temperature is. If you're around someone and they're irate, they're angry, they're up, they're hot, their emotions are taking control of them. If you're a thermometer, you're just gonna get that and go wherever they dictate you go. But if their emotions are hot and high, you can bring them down. You control the temperature of the room. because your emotions are contagious as well.